I paid $12,000 a year and a half ago to get a similar website built.
$12,000.
And 3 months probably.
And 3 months. And you've spent how much? $20?
$20 a month.
A month, right? $20 a month because he's too cheap to buy the extra tokens right now.
I got timed out of Claude the other day and I just stopped working. I just didn't know what to do anymore. It's weird, right? It's almost like, how did we do stuff before this? He timed me out for like 3 hours and I just made some food.
Buy new credits, more credits.
I'm not doing that. That's how they get you.
No, more credits and then you get more work done.
Agents out there that are sort of quiet quitting right now because they just feel like there's no opportunity. There is a massive opportunity to be prospecting every single day right now. You could sell 50 homes a year just with expireds and cancels right now. I swear you could. And am I the only one that feels like agents aren't talking about that at all? Like, where did the prospecting go? Like, where did the habit of getting up and spending 2 hours a day calling expireds every morning, like, where did that go?
DFW, turn it up. This week in DFW Real Estate. The weekly podcast built for agents who actually get paid. Market moves, listing heat, closing streets. DFW agents. Let's eat.
All right. Welcome back to another great episode. Last week's show was awesome. If you did not get a chance to watch that, make sure to go watch last week's show, leave a comment, join our Facebook group, the DFW Realtor Facebook group. A lot of great comments in there. And this week's show is going to be it's going to be a banger.
Episode.
That's what they say.
That's what the kids say.
That's what they say.
13. I just realized we have an assistant that we use every week and we could just be asking him to keep track and we try to do this manually. I got timed out of Claude the other day and I just stopped working. I just didn't know what to do anymore. It's weird, right? It's almost like, how did we do stuff before this? He timed me out for like 3 hours and I just made some food.
Buy new credits, more credits.
I'm not doing that. That's how they get you.
No, more credits, and then you get more work done. Fable 5, by the way, with Claude is amazing. Yeah, but it was double.
What's Fable 5?
That's the new release.
Oh, I thought I'm still on 4.8. Fable 5, this is the new thing.
Click on it, open it today. It'll say, do you want to go to Fable 5?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fable 5.
By the way, a lot of great things coming out. By the time you hear this show, we would have already done our AI summit that Brian is speaking at. I'm hosting it with Wayne Salomons. And you'll want to just make sure to always go to DFW Realtors Facebook group where we share all the events that are going on. You can RSVP there. And we're doing a lot of great things with AI right now. We're no longer using it to just say, hey, what's the weather today? Write this email, make it better. Make it sound more like me.
I'm really excited to share next week, which will have already happened by the time this goes live. So thank you for coming yesterday. On a lot of the stuff that we're doing to provide real utility in our businesses using AI. Like, we are getting way more productivity per person. A lot of the stuff that's patternistic has been automated, and a lot of the stuff that we were never getting to because it took so much manpower, we can do with a fraction of the inputs that we used to. And it's opened up so many doors. I want
to expand on that. But today's show, here's what we're talking about today. By the way, the show is brought to you. Thank you for our amazing sponsor, Theron Smith, over at Armadillo Home Warranty. Go to armadillo.one, click on that, and then if you're on Facebook in our Facebook group, you can connect with Theron Smith there. They are an amazing home warranty company. By the way, I was at dinner last night after our baseball game. We some of the parents all got together, and two of the parents have Armadillo. And one of them was just raving. He's like, thank you so much for Armadillo. The others is having some air conditioning problems right now, right? It's getting hot. And Armadillo's been great. They were running into a contractor problem, not an Armadillo problem. So I texted there and I said, hey, can you get with them and help them out? This was at 9 p.m. last night. He responded back. He's like, let me get with my director. And they're already getting it taken care of. Man. So Armadillo Home Warranty, armadillo.one. Just go over there and say that the guys over at the This Week in DFW Real Estate sent you. But the show we're going to talk about today is really there was a Wall Street Journal article about some local agents, and it's really about the mass exodus of real estate agents and how tough this market is.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive on that. But with AI, what you're doing, Brian, and what we're doing in our businesses over at Homeward, so Homeward Property Management, just go to homewarddfw.com if you have any management needs, if you need to get you refer clients over there to get it leased out, whatever. Dana and Duncan do a great job. But I was telling Heather, you're rebuilding Homeward's website.
It's done. Just need the feedback on some of the verbiage, but fully optimized, streamlined. Like it was an amazing project.
And I was sharing this with Heather, and she's like, "This is amazing." She's like, "Let me ask, how much would a new website would have cost, design wise, and getting it up and running? How much do you think that we would have spent a month? Right, $20 a month because he's too cheap to buy the extra tokens right now. Even if he had to go to $100."
Still worth it.
Still worth it. And when did you start building out that website?
Maybe a week and a half ago.
And it probably would have been done sooner.
It would have been done sooner if we didn't have other things going on. But yeah, I mean, if it was just deep focus, we could have had it done in 4 or 5 days.
So 4 or 5 days, probably even maybe faster than that, but 4 or 5 days, if you were just truly focused on it, cost you $20 a month for Claude.
Yep.
Versus a year and a half ago, it cost $12,000 in 3.5 months.
And I think this one is, even the one that I paid for, back then, I don't have the skills. I didn't have the skill set back then to understand, is the schema right? Is it optimized properly? Is it ranking for the right keywords? Like I was really heavily dependent on the developer to know those things and to show me everything, being able to work with AI to say, this is what I want. Can you show me everything that I need to do, what I'm doing wrong? And then can you go back and recheck your work and make sure that we're aligned? There are parts of the website that we're building this to replace our old website. There are parts of our old website that I didn't even really know were like totally out of whack.
Yep.
When it came to our rankings and our optimization, our speed, everything, like I learned so much through this process. And that's what's incredible about this is it's not just a hack, it's a learning tool. And I really want to harp on that point. AI should not only be helping you streamline and optimize your business, you should be learning along the way a lot of new skills that you didn't have the capacity to learn before.
So, because as I've been talking to a lot of agents, I'm actually shocked that there's a lot of them not even actually using AI yet. They're not even paying for it. They've tested it out, maybe the free version, and they've just never touched it. And then the others that are using it, I'll give an example. She's not an agent. My mom texted me this morning. She's like, let me just tell you, Nick, ChatGPT, it is scary good. It's so weird how it just knows me and it feels like it has feelings. And I was like, yeah, that's the scary part, right? That's what's the design. But like the agents that are using it, the mass majority are not using it to actually enhance or be more efficient. What they're doing is maybe they're having it review inspection reports and they're having it review just emails or make this text message better. And while that's great, that is just like, that's just like having a Ferrari,
sure,
and just getting in and starting it up.
Yeah,
you're not even getting out and driving it, right? Yeah. You just sit in it. You know how to start it up, but you know how to drive it yet.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that this is a whole new skill set. I mean, I've sent you some of the groups that I'm in that I'm paying money to go learn from, and I will tell you, this is it's a whole different language. It seems easy, and you have this big vision of what you believe AI can do, but you don't know how to connect the pieces yet.
Right.
Or you start to try to connect the pieces, and then it needs this piece over here. It needs this, or you realize, holy crap, like the computer I'm using is not strong enough or fast enough to actually do it. Now I got to go get a Mac Mini. Now I got to go get this, or how to run my own server in my own house versus using a host another server, an online server, and then that runs slower on a VPS.
Yep.
And then you just get so blurry-eyed that you just shut it all down.
100%. Well, yes, it is a deep rabbit hole you can get down. One of the things, and I'm going to talk about this on our event, is AI is not going to help your business if you don't help it execute on your core focus. So, and this is where I will continue to say that I see a lot of people in the future struggling with the benefits of AI because they're focused on the wrong things. AI is not going to change the fundamentals. You have you have a very short list of things that actually move your business forward, and then you have all this other noisy stuff in your business that pulls your attention away. Right. And that could be the fun stuff. That could be the shiny object stuff. That could be the tinkering stuff. That could be the stuff that seems like more fun than doing the real work. And where I see a lot of people using AI, right, is tinkering with those things. Right. So, for example, you just mentioned inspection reports. We use a lot of AI at our transaction management company. And we have guiding principles on every day you need to be figuring out just how to execute, how to just don't ever stop executing, right? How do you want to grow a business? Just execute. You're going to do a lot of things wrong, but if you just keep executing every day on what moves your business forward, eventually it doesn't matter how many things you get wrong. You're going to get enough things right that your business is going to grow. In our transaction management company, doing patternistic things over and over and over is part of executing because we have to do them 100 times a month. Whereas, so for example, we've built out AI agents that do some amazing things with taking a contract and going boom, 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 here's what happens next, here's what happens next, here's what happens next, and then actually going and doing that, right? Things that used to take someone 15 minutes to do now take 5 seconds to do. But if you add that up over 100 contracts a month, it's a meaningful amount of time. That doesn't make sense for an individual agent who's doing 3 contracts a month, though. Correct. You're not getting enough of your time back to be spending your time. So the same thing goes for like an inspection report, right? If I'm building out like some complicated AI project that can scrape an inspection report and, break it down or whatever, like if I'm only doing that a couple of times a month, that's not actually helping me grow my real estate business. Everything you do with AI right now should be in the name of how do I grow my business? And so for an agent, what grows your business? Your database. So everything you should be doing should be in the name of how do I drive more people into my database? Am I building funnels? Am I building content? How am I getting in front? How am I using my time every day to do more dollar productive activities better with the help of AI rather than trying to automate all these fringe things that I really only get a few reps in every single month.
I agree.
If you do that, you're spending way more time running in the wrong direction.
Well, I think, and you what you just said is very powerful because I think where most people are using it, they're using it as a personal assistant or an executive assistant, or an office manager. Yes. And again, like you said, if you're not selling more than 4, 5, 6 houses a month, you don't need that right now. You actually don't need the operational systems just yet because those 3 or less contracts are not that you're negotiating or that you're having to deal with is not taking up that much time. But, we think it is because we don't want to lead generate. Right. So we put off, negotiate and repair contract or we overanalyze it or we say we got to go get contractors out there, whatever that may be. But 100%, the first agents or the first way that I would deploy any type of AI is one, database cleanup.
Sure.
Right? Most people have a CRM that it looks like a hoarder's house if we were to visualize it, and they don't know where to start. Yep. So I would be going in there and having it, connecting it and finding ways of pulling out who's actually hot, who's not. Yep. Who has clicked on something, who's taken an action item, clicked on something. I would also start going and working on how do I build out a communication system so that everyone remembers Nick Good. That's what I want it. That's what I want it to be used for. How do I make sure that everyone knows Nick Good on this, and to really build this up? Yep. And that's the branding assistant, right? That's still a lead generation because it's not going to cost you that much. Yep. And then I would work on, all right, should we work on a weekly newsletter, or is there some type of daily newsletter that I could come out with a brief? Can I make it like almost like a blip of a social media headline and bring it back? Yep. We've been kind of toying around and looking at making AI clones and using that. I will say that can get expensive and it actually takes a lot of work to actually understand how to build out the clones. Yeah.
And you got to have a plan for what you're going to do with it.
Correct. And that's where I've found that most people, they have an idea, but they don't know how to connect it. It's just like, you spoke at, you went to Danny B's luxury panel yesterday and saw a lot of great agents. And Danny B has his virtual assistant company, and our good friend who's that's powered by Sphere Rocket, Justin Nelson. And Justin Nelson has always told us, he's like, the problem that most agents have when they look at getting a virtual assistant and a leverage piece is they're trying to leverage out something that they've never even tried to do.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to train up on it.
Yep.
And so, they're like, oh, I need to get an ISA. And they're going to get a VA who's from a foreign company, a foreign country, who doesn't speak English very well, doesn't know U.S. real estate or any of that sort. And then they're going to start making phone calls on their behalf.
Yeah.
And they don't even know how to train them. Then they get mad when they get 0 results or they start getting people bad-mouthing them.
Yep.
And so it's the same thing with AI. AI, while it seems smart, it's not. It's only based on what it's trained and what you've learned it on.
Yep.
And so we just don't know how to train it, how to prompt it, how to control it, and how to keep it going and how to build it, because that's a whole different learning that we have to have.
100%. It's garbage in, garbage out, right? And one of the best ways of using AI to actually build useful things is actually using AI to help you conceptualize what things you need to build. So for example, let's just do like a quick thought exercise. Is it a great time to buy a house in 2026? Who knows, right? Depends on your situation. But what if we used AI to build a completely immersive sort of interactive funnel experience that helped us add people to our database based on that question, right? Who's got thousands of friends on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all these different places? And how easy would it be for me to go, hey, I'm doing a research project, or I'm doing a feedback experiment. Do you think it's a great time to buy a house in 2026? Visit this, go here. And I want you to go through this experience. I'm building a knowledge base. I'm building feedback, right? You could literally have AI build out that entire funnel, right? People basically just put in their name and their email. They go into your database, by the way, and they go through a completely interactive experience. Do you think it's a good time to buy a house in 2026? Yes or no, and here's why. And as you click through every question, it gives you a little bit more information, for example, or it asks you to think about different things or whatever, right? By the way, I don't know exactly what the experience is going to look like just yet. You know why? Because I haven't asked AI to help me build it yet, right? But at the end of it, you're going to feel like that was cool, and thank you for participating and all this type of stuff. They're going to feel like they got a pretty cool experience out of something that you build. Also, they are now in your database. You're going to have thousands more people in your database than you had before. They're going to go on your daily or weekly newsletter, right? You're going to hit them with all other sorts of stuff. They're going to see more and more of your content that AI helps you build, and they're going to think about you when they think about real estate. That's a way more meaningful use of AI, by the way. And I got a million other ideas like that that agents should be working on every day. It's the stuff that if you had to build it from the ground up on your own, you'd never get to. AI can help you build that, but it's got to move your business forward, not just be stuff on the fringes.
So let's talk about, we have all these tools in our pocket in front of us and have access to. It's relatively affordable. But since 2022, right, we've lost 200,000 agents. Is that since 2022? So basically, NAR has hit 1.4 million members, down from 1.6 at the peak. And we're now in the slowest home sales pace since 1982. And just in the Fort Worth, there was a Wall Street Journal article that came out, and it was about a Fort Worth broker that they were talking about how, I think she's been in the business a long time. And, she's saying how this is one of the hardest markets she's ever experienced. Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, because now it's behind a paywall, when I read it, if I remember correctly, she's now, I think, working a full-time job and doing this as a dual career.
I think that's probably speaks for a lot of people's stories. Being in the businesses that we are and in the coaching business, I can tell you that's become much more the norm.
Well, and we see here, the stats are 71% of agents now say real estate is 71% of agents now say real estate is their only job. That's the lowest share since tracking began in 2005. So, 1 in 3 agents right now has a side hustle just to survive.
Yeah. And so, look, we've talked about this ad nauseum. The market is slower. It's going to give us fewer transaction size now than it did in, a few years ago, especially in 2021 and 2022. What's an interesting point to make is that 200,000 agents that have left their NAR membership behind, whether they left the business entirely, the herd is thinning a little bit. Those people all have a database that they took with them. And so there's competition out there that is removing themselves from the race. I will also tell you, being in the transaction management business as well, there are agents out there that are thriving right now on taking available market share that used to belong to someone else.
Well, think about it. So you just said, we just said 200,000 agents are gone. Let's assume they're gone because now you don't necessarily have to be part of NAR to still be part of the board,
right,
or be part of the MLS. But if there's 200,000 agents gone, let's just say that 150,000 or 175,000 are gone. The other 25 to 50 are still in it. Every agent who quit took their sphere of influence with them, right? So if you think about it, that sphere now is unrepresented per se.
Yeah.
And, the past clients are going to need someone. So anybody that they've been talking to. So the agents that are still standing, and this is something that I always I remembered in 07 and 08, and when I first joined Keller Williams, and we were going through the Red Book, the MREA book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and Gary Keller had talked about, and we, as a brokerage, that was how they grew during that time and recruited, is like the agents that withstand this downturn, the slowest sales pace since 1982, they're going to come out the other side with huge opportunities and results.
Absolutely.
And money making. And, I was talking to an agent on the way here, and he was telling me he's got 9 listings, and and he's like, this is the most I've ever carried, and it's tough because it's not selling, and I need to go get more. And I said, well, you also have 9 people that have agreed, that had already agreed and hired you. So let's also focus on these 9 and go through how do we at least get 75% of these 9 sold?
Yep.
Right? You may lose out on 2 of them,
Yep.
but let's sell 7 out of 9.
Yep.
And what ends up happening, and I want to go over a little bit of language of real estate here in a little bit, is that agents still aren't telling their clients what they need to hear. They're telling them what they believe that those clients want to hear. Versus in this market, and just like in the 08 crash, the agents that were coming in and prescribing reality to them, and they were saying, hey, Brian, like, look, I understand. Like, I'll give you a real life example. I had a client, or I had a homeowner cancel their appointment on me this week. They reached out to me on Facebook. They said, hey, I need you to come out really ASAP. And I said, okay. Person gave me her husband's number. I called and I said, what's going on? They said, we're behind on our mortgage, so we need to move quick. And they just bought the house in 2022. They did it at 100% financing. And that area in this particular city, that particular portion of their area has dropped by almost $30,000. And so I said, you're a month behind. Let's talk about looking at maybe a short sell option, and we can get that, because it's going to be a long while, especially in that part of town and that part of the county. It's going to be a long while before they make up a $30,000 swing.
Sure.
And so we'd set it, this was last week. Actually, when we recorded this show, I set it here while we recorded this show last week.
Nice.
And it was supposed to be for this week. And that morning, the husband called me and canceled. And as we were kind of corresponding back and forth, he said, his wife didn't agree with the short sale process. They were going to bring it current and then try to sell the traditional one. I was like, they haven't responded back yet, but I was like, guys, it's going to be a while before that $30,000 swing. This person's driving an hour and a half each way to work.
Oh, geez.
So it was a 3-hour commute, round trip. They're upside down by $30,000. They're behind a month and a half behind. He's making less money now. And so I said, look, you're not going to like what I have to tell you, but this is probably your best option. And so, there's going to be agents out there that will take a listing.
Oh, 100%. And to that point, that's a great story, because it's not a great story, but that is a relevant story, because so many of the agents that I coach for, we talked about short sales and those types of things a lot on this show now. Like they're still a small portion of the market, but it does feel like just about every higher producing agent that I coach is come across this situation now, and a couple of them several times now. Going back a little bit to the AI conversation, one of the things that I think that we are missing out on as an opportunity in this business, because we are getting so obsessed with technology. Like, we love using technology in our business to make things more efficient, but we still try to focus on the fundamentals. Agents out there that are sort of quiet quitting right now because they just feel like there's no opportunity. There is a massive opportunity to be prospecting every single day right now. You could sell 50 homes a year just with expireds and cancels right now. I swear you could. And am I the only one that feels like agents aren't talking about that at all? Like, where did the prospecting go? Like, where did the habit of getting up and spending 2 hours a day calling expireds every morning, like, where did that go? Because that was what I did in production my entire career. And it feel like I feel like we should be just chomping at the bit right now to be that second agent that's telling you the thing that your first agent probably told you after they signed the listing and not before. And it just feels like we should be cleaning up on expireds and canceled right now. And I just don't see a lot of agents doing it.
Or that, I mean, this
Too busy using AI to build inspection report robots or whatever.
But I think that, unfortunately, this is the fault of the industry, right? We are now so much in a social media, TikTok, Reels, building this brand. And we talked about it even last week, is like, about brand and about feelings and how this is a business that doesn't have feelings. And that's how you built your business. In 2007, I joined at the end of 2007. I joined Keller Williams. The crash happened in 2008. I actually got a lot of business off of blogging, off of ActiveRain.
Yeah, I remember ActiveRain.
Right? ActiveRain. And then that all died.
Yeah.
Right? That started to die down because guess what? The financial collapse happened.
Yeah.
And so those incoming traffic wasn't there anymore. And so, what did I do? Well, I was like, well, crap, my business fell apart. Mm-hmm. And so I did like what everyone else was doing, just like right now is what they're saying is like the side hustles. I started to go look for jobs, and then I got a job offer for $65,000 a year. I was 24, 25 years old. And on the way home, instead of taking it right there, I said I needed to think about it. On the way home, it hit me. It smacked me so hard in the face. I was like, well, if they're gonna make me work, 5-6 days a week in this business at over more than 40 to 45 hours a week for 60 or 65,000. If I work that same amount, actually looking for buyers and sellers, I can at least make $60,000 or $65,000.
Yes.
Right. And so that light bulb moment went off that I was like, all right, you've heard this story before, Brian. And so have you, Jesse. Like, again, we're all expecting to make full-time income on part-time effort.
100%
So it's like, why are we not treating this as a full-time freaking job? Where every single day, 8 hours a day, if I don't have any clients, 8 hours a day, I need to be looking for clients.
100%.
I need to be calling my sphere and guilting them. I don't care. Someone on our shorts commented, so you would call and guilt your sphere? Absolutely.
Yes, 100%.
My friends should be supporting my business. If I support yours, you should support mine. And if not, we need to have a different conversation. Yep. Or maybe I'm not that great of an agent and they need to tell me that, and so I need to improve. Or I need to go and find ways to lead generate. I need to go do open houses. Right? Why are we shitting on open houses? Bleep that out, Jesse. So YouTube and all our other YouTube channels.
I don't care.
We don't need to. But that was their other show.
No, you're 100% right. This is, we get a front row seat to this because we're blessed to be in the coaching space. That, I had a great coaching conversation this morning with an agent about increasing her goals, because we're coming up on halfway through the year, and we probably need to up her unit count for her goals because she's going to surpass it, right? The agents that I work with that have established businesses, they're really doing well right now, and the conversations still remain the same. How many past clients are we asking for referrals from? How many conversations have we had with our database this week, and what are we doing prospecting wise to close the gap? Right? That's where we start every coaching conversation. Then we work through the minutia, what's working, what's not working. We strategize, we make we make tweaks to the plan. But every one of those agents, this is what they do as a full-time job. And then we have to have coaching conversations around how we bring in the leverage, right? So I had a great part of the coaching conversation today was around how to position the showing agent that we just brought on as part of the team so that buyers understand whenever we're doing the buyer consultation that I may not be the person showing you houses. I set the standard. You're going to have a great experience, right? Agents have a lot of limiting beliefs around bringing on that type of leverage, so on and so forth. But I say that because that's all of those conversations start from what are we doing to generate more business this week? That is your job as the owner and leader of this organization, is to bring in the business. And so it doesn't matter what level we're at. When we were selling 400 homes a year as a sales team, every conversation with my coach is still around what are we doing to set more appointments to bring in more business. That was my job as the leader of the organization, is to make sure that we were bringing in business. I also find that the majority of the agents, I mean, you could just look at the statistics, where it's like how many agents haven't sold a home this year, how many agents say this, they don't say this is their full-time source of income anymore. I would venture to guess that an overwhelming majority of real estate agents in America do not view generating business as their full-time job. And it's their only job. If we get up and we've got 8 hours a day, I either need two things. I need appointments, or I need to be setting appointments. Nothing else matters.
Yesterday, part of we're with the Place organization. And yesterday we, as an organization and company, we did 1,000 dial day.
Nice.
And, everyone hears that. By the way, even my team, I was like, guys, when you hear 1,000 dials, I know that your gut starts to turn over and it tightens up and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And, we had a great turnout. We brought in food, we brought in snacks, we, just cheerleaded on.
Yeah.
And no one hit 1,000 dials, by the way. But I will tell you that the effort, as we were making effort, it's about the effort in the activity.
Yes.
Is that 7 appointments that I know of were set. That's when I left at 3 p.m. 7 appointments were set.
There you go.
That day. Right. And as we look at that, I had new agents come in and like, oh, I made 50 dials. And I said, I just made 50 dials. I said, first off, hold up. You didn't just make 50 dials. You freaking made 50 dials.
You made 50
That's
dials
the
more than
most you've ever
today.
done.
Yeah.
I said, so tomorrow, make 50 dials.
Yeah.
Right. You can make 50. Did you die? Did anybody curse you out? Are you hurt? No. 50 dials tomorrow. Yep. Another nerd, she's 22. She's like, I made 300 calls. I said, great, 300 tomorrow. Right. Because what we have to realize, we still have to pick up the darn phone. And as we're going through it, the silver lining, Jesse, as you scroll down on this, like, if we talk about everything stalling, I mean, closed sales and DFW are up.
They're actually, 8% year over year.
Yeah,
that's
we're
fantastic.
up on closed sales.
That's good.
The rest of the area, the rest of the industry is flat to stalling out.
Yep.
But, when we go look at that, all right, closed sales are up a little bit.
Yep. Home sales in DFW are up. This is a big opportunity, right? Try not to cross over my thoughts here too much, but I love what you just said about the 1,000 dial day, because I just haven't heard of dial parties in so long. I just love this, man. That gets me excited. I love being in the room, making the dials. This is what makes this industry fun. We talk about AI a lot and all the things that we're doing every day. If my business isn't where I want it to be, and even if it is, I have a future, I have to continue to drive business, I should be waking up every day and making dials. You want to sell 50 homes a year? This is how you do it in 2026. Wake up and call expireds and canceleds for 2 hours. You should set an appointment every day. You just will, because there are so many expireds and cancels out there right now. And the script around it is their agent probably didn't have the hard conversation with them up front around pricing. They're probably overpriced right now. Okay. And during that listing experience, their agent probably tried to get them to drop the price a whole bunch of times, but they didn't set the right expectation up front. So the client felt like it was a takeaway. Now you're saying the same thing their last agent did, except you're being upfront about it. You're going to set at least 1 appointment a day from doing that, right? After that, the people that are in your world that already know, like, and trust you, you need to be calling at least 10 of them a day, sharing your goals with them and asking them for a referral. Brian, that's going to take you another hour.
I want people to stay to the end of the show. We're going to share a 30-day plan.
Okay.
To go get business right now.
Let's do that.
Right? So
love that.
Don't give it all away. Stay
I won't
to the
give
end
it
of
all
the
away.
show. Make a comment. Go join our Facebook group, the DFW Realtors Facebook group. Also, make sure to love on our sponsors, Theron Smith over at Armadillo Home Warranty, Armadillo.one, as well as Dana, Wynn, and Duncan O'Donnell, the best property managers over at Homeward DFW. Just go to homewarddfw.com. But as we talk about it, you really see these two realities going on. And what we got to look at, is the language of real estate needs to start happening. We talked about understanding AI. That's a different language, right? We talk about, when you talk about real estate investing, it's a different language. And when you just talk with realtors in general, they use different language. And we want to start using the language of real estate to understand, all right, what we just shared is closed home sales are up 8% year over year. But when we start looking at, we need to understand, what is your days on market? What's the absorption rate?
Yes.
What does an absorption rate even freaking mean?
Hope you guys know.
Right. So that as we start to explain this, is because your clients have the same access now. They're Googling, they're AIing, they're ChatGPTing, they're Clauding, they're doing all this stuff.
That's true.
And you know what they think? They think they are now more of an expert than they've ever had. And for the most part, they're getting bombarded with information that may not be correct.
Yes.
And so, because a lot of this information is pulling straight from your MLS that you have access to, that the AIs don't. They're pulling data. They're pulling national data. They're pulling off of articles. So theirs is going to be skewed. It could be skewed negative or positive depending on how that person's wanting to look at it.
And it's inherently affirmative, right? So you won't ever find AI normally challenging its own assumptions, right? You have to do that for it. So if you just take everything at face value, you might end up with some misinformation there, right? DFW absorption rate, though, is 4.1 months right now. So we're up 8% year over year.
What does absorption rate mean, though, Brian?
The absorption rate is basically, if I were to stop putting homes on the market today, how long would it take for every home that is currently on the market to sell, given the velocity of sales?
Now, if we take it, Jesse's got it pulled up on the MLS. If we just do residential, right? If we just do residential, the absorption rate is 5.2 months. So we're actually higher than that 4.2. Yeah. And that's at the end of May. Now that's down 8.8%. Now, Jesse, as you open up, go to the life history of this graph. Go to the max. So when we look at it right now, we're at 5.2 months. We peaked. We peaked, first off, 2003, January 2003, we were right under 10 months. We were at 9.5 months. And so I'm going to tell you that most real estate agents, doesn't matter how long I wasn't in the industry in 2003. Yep. I got in at 2005, really started selling at I kind of was selling at the end of 2006, but really is 2007. But Jesse, go to 2011, go to that spike in 2011, 3.6 months. This is residential, all property types, pre-owned. Mm-hmm. So 3.6 months. And this was as we were still a little bit, now we are towards the tail end of this great recession. Mm-hmm. That is still a seller's market, folks. Yeah. Right? So most agents, even though we talk about the Great Recession, we actually never experienced anything of a true buyer's market. Now, there's some, and I'm going to do a little asterisk on that. We did have some sub-markets within the Dallas-Fort Worth area that had 6 to 12 months of inventory. Like you got into the luxury market back in the day. Sure. The $1 million price point before every home in DFW was $1 million or more. Right. That we were looking at 12 plus months of inventory. Sure. Which would take, which means that if no other home still came on the market, it would still take roughly a year on average to sell. Right. So, Jesse, if we go back to absorption rate, we're at that 5.2 months mark, which we're down 8.8% year over year. We spiked back in 2025, July of 2025, we hit that balance market of 6 months.
But it's the first time we ever have.
Yes.
So since this has started getting tracked in late 2003, in late 2003.
So what that means, and hopefully, Jesse, we can have this on the screen for the video if you can just screenshot it, maybe. I'm gonna
speak it into existence.
He thumbed upped it. So what I would like to see and share, this could scare you, right? We think of it as a stalling out. We think of it as a slow real estate market. Do you know what I see here? I see here homeowners who are frustrated that their house isn't selling. I see homeowners who are taking their homes off the market, they're canceling expired, and really they need to sell. Yep. They're actually motivated, but we didn't ask the right questions.
We didn't ask the right questions. This Look, we are finally headed towards a balanced market here. We have a lot of people that have a lot of equity because of the COVID run-up. Now, their prices have probably come down a little bit, right? Around 12% on average over the last 3 years or so. Home values have dropped in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But if I'm trying to sell my home right now, more often than not, I'm going to be a buyer on the other side, or I'm going to be in some way a buyer again in the future. So my ability to unlock my equity and then take advantage of the buying opportunity right now, this is what is keeping agents from doing deals right now. They're not helping their clients understand the full scope. They're not asking the right questions, and they're not solving the right problems, right? This is, again, why I think you should be getting up and prospecting every single day, because there are tons of people out there right now frustrated with their home selling experience who are also going to be home buyers right now and are not able to take advantage of the fact that we are almost officially in what you would consider a buyer's market right now, rates aside, and rates need to be aside because I can get concessions for buy downs and things like that. There's ways to work around the rate issue, right? And those people are out there looking for an expert to come in and have the right conversation with them, which is we need to position you well. So we find that right buyer, and that's going to be from a pricing and marketing and exposure standpoint, and also understand if your home does not fetch what you thought it would during maybe the COVID years, you're still going to get the benefit of being a buyer in this market most of the time. And I can more than likely make up anything you think you're losing on the seller side on the buying opportunity. We're just not having those conversations. We're not having enough conversations, period, right? We're coaching our agents just to go out and create content every single day, which is nothing wrong with that, but it's not leading to enough appointments, not leading to enough conversations. Agents should be selling 30 to 50 homes a year in this market right now. If they just wake up, prospect, talk to their sphere, and then go and do open houses every single weekend. It's totally available for you out there. Home sales are actually up 8%.
I would be doing open houses in the evening time.
There you go.
Even if you want your weekends free. Let's say you want your weekends free. I'd be doing evening open houses then.
Especially because so many people work from home now. Yeah. People can go to open houses on a weekday.
Yeah, test it out. But again, that's our prospecting. That is, you are a salesperson. You're a licensed salesperson according to the Texas Real Estate Commission. Mm-hmm. Sell yourself. Get out there. You understand language of real estate. There's so much more on here, but as I don't want to butt up against all of our time. I want to talk about a little bit of the changes that are happening. So July 1st, there's some new contract changes that are coming in. And what we're seeing is there's a change to paragraph 12, the broker compensation language, right? So paragraph 12 revision changes broker compensation and expense contribution language across multiple contract types. So this is that post-NAR settlement cleanup. So if you haven't updated how you're writing compensation in your contract, July 1st is the hard deadline. So we're going to start seeing now where in that paragraph 12 portion, it is saying that the seller, right? The seller is paying the like when you request it and write it in your offer, the seller is going to be paying that broker compensation fee.
I think this is good, right? I want to mention, I get hazy on these things. If I don't see it right in front of me, sometimes I can't synthesize these things. But this smooths over some of the confusion. Correct. I think this is a good thing.
It should. Okay. I mean, you still have some agents that haven't sold in a while who are still thinking that there's broker to broker comp. That on that last page of the contract where you write in 3% and that's really for the title company. In reality, the commission was coming from somewhere. It wasn't actually coming from us. Like the money had to form from the client, right? So this just makes it easier, right? This you write it in there. The seller is it, and what I think is very cool about this is overall, this truly adds value to our industry because now we're negotiating for what we believe that we are worth.
Yes.
And if you've got a seller, if you're representing a buyer and you've got a listing agent and a seller who's trying to cut that comp down, let's say that you're asking for, I'm going to make up a number so we're not saying a standard. We're going to say, let's say you put 5% in there, and they're like, nope, 1%. Well, let's justify, let's look at days on market. Let's go to the language of real estate.
Sure.
Let's look at, all right, what houses in this area on average are selling at 120 days. You've been on the market for 15 days. We got a great buyer here. It's a great price. So I believe that, we should have the seller pay X amount.
Yeah, agreed. No, it becomes a real negotiation. Commercial's been doing it this way forever, by the way.
Yes, yes. And so I think from these changes, I think that's one will clear up a lot of confusions, especially with agents. It becomes a sticking point because they're like, my broker said this. No, we need to have the uniformity there. Some new disclosure requirements cover now insurance history, conservation easements, private roads, storage tanks, and water rights. Right. This was a missing required disclosure as a liability event.
Yeah, the water rights thing is something that I think has been a sticking point for a long time. It's a whole different. Yeah. Now it's just going to be included. I think is that what we're saying? All in one. That's smart.
Yeah. And then we already covered it. Broker-to-broker conversation is being removed from several Texas real estate forms, realtor forms, and listing agreements. So this aligns with the post-NAR settlement landscape. So, that way, what's gone and what it replaces it with. New notice delivery methods now include overnight carrier options, reorganize addendas and notice sections for improved clarity. Right. These sound minor, but if you're doing business the old way, you're creating confusion. So it's just like, how are you delivering deadlines? Yeah. And then new water related forms and disclosures, given that the water infrastructure story that was covered in segment 5, this is double important. So knowing water rights, water quality, storage tanks, this is kind of, obviously it's kind of a big deal in the DFW area if we're adding this, or just in Texas. The water is a transactional disclosure issue now. Yeah, definitely more so in like rural areas where you're not on city, right? I think that's super important. So I would also, this is something I've not done, and I want to make this part of the show, especially because this is for DFW real estate agents, is go to MetroTex. Like our trainings, again, the next week, the AI training and some of the others has been at the MetroTex building in Irving. That facility, dude, they do a great job. Top notch. It really is super cool. Yeah. And so they've got some free trainings, June 22nd session, which by the time this goes out, I don't know if they'll be on there. So just go to MetroTex, look at all the free training events. That way you don't have to always go and pay, and then just look at any of the events we invite you to, because they're always great. 30 days. Yeah. What's the goal in the 30-day plan? 30 days to what? 30 days of getting business. 30 days, I will take, I think I can take 5 listings in 30 days if I do this. Every single day, I get up, and I'm going to spend 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock just calling expireds and cancels. Like it's my job. Like I had a boss, and this was my job. Like when you go take a job, and you get a job, right? If you do that, the conversation you're having is most of the people that you're talking to, they were overpriced probably, and they didn't have an agent that set the right expectations, right? You should be setting an appointment a week. You should be setting an appointment a day from that. But you should probably, at the very least, you should be setting 2 appointments a week, 2 very solid appointments a week. If you do that every single day, and then you're going to close one of those appointments, most likely. Let's just say you close at a 50% rate. If you're sitting down with cold expireds or cancels that you've never met before for a listing presentation, you should be closing 50%. So I've already got basically 1 listing a week just taking care of that. From there, every single day, I need to be talking to somebody in my sphere of influence 10 different times. I need to be a human catching up with them. How are they, right? And also, I know I do this a lot. I'm going to do it again because I want to hit my goals. My goal is to serve 50 families this year. And the way that I serve them is by helping them buy or sell real estate. So who do you know that you can connect me with that I could serve this year, right? If you do that just in the first 30 days, you're going to get some referrals. But here's the thing. If you do that for your entire career, it's going to be your entire business. Your job is just to continue to have that conversation over and over and over. I tell stories of my life insurance agent who does this probably better than anybody I know. But this is the law of reciprocity, and you're appealing to their basic human need for contribution. People will send you referrals if you ask for them. Agents are notoriously terrible at asking for the business. Do that 10 times a day. And then
I should be holding 3 open houses every week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If you don't want to do Saturday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or really Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, do an evening one and then do the weekends. If you don't want to do weekends, do 3 during the week. People work from home nowadays, so they could come to an early evening time open house. It wouldn't be an issue whatsoever. Every single one of those people goes in my database. They get followed up with immediately and relentlessly until I send an actual buyer's consultation or listing consultation with them. If I do that religiously, daily and weekly for 30 days, I don't think there's a chance in heck I don't take 5 listings, but I would just say 5 clients. Do you think if I prospected for 2 hours a day, made 10 Sphere phone calls where I actually asked for a referral and hold 3 open houses a week and follow up religiously with those people, that I'm not taking 5 clients a month?
No, you're 100%. 5 at minimum. I mean, first off, your follow-up game over the next 90 days alone sets it off for an avalanche of business. I mean, I was just kind of looking at as we were going through this segment of this, of course we have our show notes AI enhanced as any sane person would. And on here it talk about the cost per lead hitting $503 this year. Now I went to fact check this. There's nothing to fact check. There's not a lot of sources on that.
There's no one source of truth.
But as I'm trying to fact check it, what I do know is that the average agent, there's 2 things. The average agent, converts internet leads at less than 1%. Right? Most people say that it's good to convert at 1 to 3%. And so there's people that are like, I just need to get internet leads. I just need to get this. But, the biggest problem that we see here is that the average agent takes 917 minutes to respond to a lead.
917?
917 minutes to respond to a lead. 78% of buyers work with the first agent.
What is that, like 3 days?
Yeah. Right? Something like that.
It's a long time.
78% of buyers work with the first agent who responds. An agent who responds within 5 minutes is 21 times more likely to qualify that lead than one who waits 30 minutes, right? The simple fix is speed of lead. We've talked about the speed of lead, but we still don't do it. We have AI. We still don't figure out how to automate even a little bit of simple text like, hey, thank you for inquiring. I'm with a client right now. Can I call you in 5 to 10 minutes?
And then actually call.
Right? There's ways to actually do this. Right. I run a home buying webinar, and on the home buying webinar, people get on a call to request a call.
Yep.
So we can do a discovery call. And you know what my sequence is? It reminds them, hey, I'm about to call you in 15 minutes.
Right.
Do you know how many people, one said, thanks for that 15-minute reminder. And when I actually called, or if I was 5 minutes late, they were like, oh, I thought you were going to call me at this time. Yeah. So people expect this to happen.
100%.
You got to train it. And so when we go through this and say, all right, you hit the nail on the head, but let's just say some of the things that, let's say you didn't want 100% always do expireds and cancels, to revive an old database, or maybe you're brand new, you still have a database that you just need to actually bring to life. Mm-hmm. And as we shared about it, is 98% of past clients or 93% of past clients, or just individuals in general, list their home with a different agent. Right? So 7% of the time they go back to their original agent who sold them that house. Yeah. 93% of the time they don't. They don't. And so, if you think about it, that's just nationally, that's 2.57 billion in lost listing volume annually. So what we look at is your database is just dormant, and it's waiting for you to bring it to life, to shock it back into life. And you could do some touch sequences. Like, we have a program, part of our residual agent network, that it's a utility concierge company. It's called Utility Direct. And one of the value adds that we wanted to bring to agents is not just be another utility concierge style opportunity, was that we wanted to say, hey, agents, do you struggle with providing value to your database, to your friends and families and Sphere? Most people say yes. They don't know what to send out there. Am I just going to send a random market report? Like, hey, Brian, would you be interested in learning about your home? I just pulled the stats. Can you want me to send it to you? Some might say yes, but that's not 100% valuable. No. But if I could say, hey, Brian, I'm testing this new service to bring to life in my world, where we could help you potentially save money on your electricity. Electricity bills are sky high right now. And this is just a free service that I'm adding to my friends and family in my network. They also can reshop your internet. A lot of people are overpaying for their internet.
Most people are overpaying.
So what I would love to do, would you go ahead and could I get a call schedule with our utility direct concierge team? It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. What they're going to do is they're going to see if they could save you a little bit of money on your electricity and on your internet. If you have an alarm system, they can do alarm systems as well, and many other home-based services. And so what we wanted to do is you got to provide value. There's got to be a reason to reach out. Then you can look at the local events going on in your area and say, hey, Brian, by the way, while I have you on the phone, or hopefully you say yes to that, I'm going to call you back in a week just to see how that went.
Yep.
And then I'm going to call back in a week or 3 to 5 days. I'm going to call back and say, how did that go? I also wanted to let you know, I just looked up, there's an awesome community event down at McKinney Square. Yep. Are you going? I think we're going to take the kids and the family. I'd love to see you there.
Yep.
Like, we have to revive the database.
And by the way, if that call went well and we were able to help you out, who else in your world do you think that you could hook me up with that I might be able to save some money for?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Adding to my database referrals now, right?
Yes.
So simple.
So there's a couple things. Just go to residualagent.com, right? Is that the website? I think it's residualagent.com.
GetResidualAgent.com.
Yeah, Get Residual Agent. You're so good at that. GetResidualAgent.com. Sign up and get on that. And we can show you how to build out this utility direct value add to your database, as well as your current clients that are under contract, your buyers. Because guess what? They got to turn on electricity. They got to turn on services. They got to get internet. Everybody gets electricity and internet at their house. 100% of the time, everyone.
Yep.
Jesse, has anybody not got internet at their house? No.
Everybody does.
Everyone gets electricity. Everyone gets internet. Yep. Those are the two must-haves nowadays to get into a home. So start providing value. Yes. Let's revive that dormant, that sleepy database and start turning into a cash money ATM machine so that hey, I'm not part of the 200,000 agents that are going out of business over the last since 2022. I'm going to be part that's over here capturing and making sure I'm out the other side, because when rates do drop, when we get out of this Iran war and everything gets back to, the economy ripping and roaring again for the real estate market, I want to be on that other side because I want to catch that wind and I want to be able to make a ton of money and continue providing value to my clients.
100%. I hope you guys got some takeaways there, because there's a lot of opportunity in this market right now. Don't let the stats get you down. In fact, they should excite you. Go out and build your flipping business, guys. It is out there for the taking right now.
We should turn this into a webinar.
30
days to getting 30 days of reviving your dormant database and adding value.
All right. So by now there should be a sign up link in the DFW Realtors group. So if you haven't joined DFW Realtors yet, join the group and go sign up for the webinar that we're going to put out on the 30 days. I love it.
Go support our sponsors. Theron Smith over at Armadillo Home Warranty, Armadillo.1, and Homeward Property Management. Go to homeward@dfw.com. Give them some love. Give them a shout out. Don't do the leases, guys. You're screwing it up. Stop screwing up the leases. You're hurting your clients worse than helping them. So send them over, get the referral fee, let Homeward manage it, and then when they're ready to sell, it's going to go back to you. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to do everything. Stop being a generalist. Let's make sure that you become a specialist, and then we'll see you on the next show.
Jesse, Mexico está jugando en 40 minutos. We gotta go. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you next time.
DFW, turn it up.